Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. The state government is being accused of ripping off taxpayers after selling publicly owned plantation assets to a foreign-owned company. But the Resources Minister is heralding the $60 million sale as a good deal for the state, with a commitment to a Tasmanian workforce.
An early morning Facebook video revealing the sale of Tasmania's 29,000 hectares of hardwood plantations.
A very good outcome for Tasmania's forest industry, our economy and taxpayers, and well above expectation.
A move prompting a raft of questions in Parliament. The public plantation assets sold to an unknown company, Reliance Forest Fibre, for more than $60 million.
How can you claim this is a good deal when the Auditor General's 2012 letter makes it clear these public plantations are being sold at a massive loss?
Tasmanians could reasonably have expected a net sale proceeds in the order of $191 million.
The deal allows the foreign-owned enterprise to take ownership of the plantations for almost a century in hopes of lifting Sustainable Timbers Tasmania to a commercial footing.
A 99-year lease to an overseas-based company. A 99-year lease is in fact privatisation of a public asset.
They're so proud of it, they would be out today spruiking about it and detailing to Tasmanians what it means for Tasmania's timber industry.
Spruiking they were, but it wasn't the Resources Minister.
We expect that the proceeds of $15 million will become available, and the government is choosing to direct that straight into health.
They've tried to control the message through Facebook, and then Mr Barnett's gone into question time, been asked a series of questions which he didn't answer.
Another online video bringing the minister under scrutiny following a speech to an anti-same-sex marriage forum.
If the law of the land is changed to legalise same-sex marriage, schools will be obliged to teach gay and lesbian sexual activity.
The minister should be condemned for making the statement that it will have an impact on the type of programs provided in our schools in Tasmania. Even the Education Minister said that is not the case.
There are different views on this, and I think that's the merit of the process that we're going through right now, that Tasmanians get to have their say.
The minister certainly having his say. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Tazz Water has been questioned on rising costs at a parliamentary inquiry into the government's proposed takeover. Heads of the corporation stood behind their current upgrade plans, denying the government's claims of a crisis in the sector.
Tazz Water bosses were in the hot seat for the first public hearing in Parliament's new committee rooms. But there was nothing sentimental about the occasion, as Upper House members probed the company on the government's takeover plans.
Our premise is there's not a crisis, so why would you rush? Every time you rush, you run the risk of suboptimal solutions.
Outside the House, the Treasurer was joined by an alliance of business groups backing his position.
We need to get a better deal, and the government proposal will ensure that we get better infrastructure, quicker and at a cheaper price.
At the inquiry, Tazz Water was questioned on rising costs as it works to upgrade infrastructure.
Are you telling me that we've got a lot more middle management, if you like, or top-end management to deliver these projects?
We have got more people. The other element there is investing in some of the backlog of maintenance that we inherited as Tazz Water.
Just to sort of add a little bit to it, Tanya, first of all, it wasn't about middle management. Project managers are not middle management. Project managers are there to deliver the projects.
And the chair revealed costs have continued to rise.
They'll be up again this year, because I've actually got this year's accounts in front of me. But they'll be up for good reason.
The Treasurer was also challenged by Upper House members, concerned the government could interfere in the sector.
What worries us is that the Minister of the day taking on board political persuasion about projects that may need to go in place. Macquarie Point, Cameron's Bay, the Tamar River.
Well, we've made it perfectly clear that we will accelerate the current 10-year plan, and that those additional projects sit outside of that.
We haven't heard anything new today. We haven't seen anything that will guarantee that the government can do the job better than under their ownership than under local government.
With plenty of questions still to be answered, Tazz Water will return to the inquiry later this month. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Risdon Prison has seen another incident of prisoner resistance. A prison service spokesman confirmed a small number of medium security prisoners refused to return to their cells after lunch, but within minutes of being spoken to by officers, they complied. Prisoner advocates say tensions at the facility are high, as demonstrated by unrest last month.
A number of weeks ago, I made the point that this prison would continue to see serious unrest. And today we have another example of that.
The government hasn't answered questions about how many prisoners were involved or if the facility was placed into lockdown. 4.5 years after Launceston traffic controller Terry Close was killed while doing his job, his son has spoken of his loss in court. Altus Traffic has pleaded guilty to a Category 2 offence of failing to comply with its health and safety duty and is now waiting to hear its fate.
Terry Close loved his beer and football, but in February 2013, while managing traffic on Vermont Road, Mowbray, he was struck by a car and later lost his life. In court today, Mr Close's son said there's still a big void in his life, and every Father's Day he feels sick and lost. He added Altus Traffic offered him counselling in 2016. I told them that was 3 years too late. We feel like my dad's life meant nothing to the company. Altus Traffic has admitted it failed to provide a safe workplace and faces a fine of up to $1.5 million. Company managers were in court for today's sentencing submissions. Its defence lawyer acknowledged the company's remorse but said there were others that didn't fulfil their duties, including the driver who hit Mr Close. Even with the best safety on the day, we may not have been able to save Mr Close, the defence said. Murray Higgs pleaded guilty to causing death by negligent driving in 2013. He was given a 3-month suspended sentence and lost his licence for a year. The driver admitted he was changing his radio at the time. Roadwork ahead signs were 700 metres from the site. Prosecutors today argued that distance was significant and they should have been closer. The court heard Altus Traffic has no prior convictions and that it's improved its safety procedures since. The matter has now been adjourned for sentencing on November 13. Monica Dadson, Southern Cross News.
A volunteer firefighter has appeared in the Hobart Magistrates Court facing 18 arson-related charges following a 9-month police investigation. The 30-year-old Oyster Cove man was charged with arson in relation to 2 properties, causing more than $330,000 worth of damage. The firefighter is currently suspended from duty. The Tasmanian Fire Service says it's a disappointing time for the firefighting community and support has been provided to brigade members affected. Tasmania has had the fastest jobs growth in the nation, with more than 11,000 jobs created over the past 12 months. The Australian Bureau of Statistics data shows the participation rate has been the highest in 2 years. The state government says it's aiming to reduce youth unemployment to the national average and hopes to have the lowest jobless rate in the country by 2022. More than 70 Tasmanian businesses have signed an open letter to Tasmania's 2 major party leaders. Historian James Boyce handing the Labor leader her letter, showing those in support of removing poker machines from pubs and clubs. Another letter is to be handed to the Premier.
We've got another voice now out there in the debate, and when the peak body claims out there to represent the hospitality industry, they do not consult their members. They have not done what we have done, actually ring up hotels, ring up clubs and ask them what they think.
It's a choice of the venue if they want to have those machines in their venue. So the regional areas, it's just one part of what the entertainment is in those venues. So it's allowing them to keep staff employed, it's allowing them to do infrastructure upgrades and keep them alive. And that's what we've been asking.
The Hospitality Association is vowing to campaign against Labor if it backs a buyback scheme for poker machines. The party is expected to make its position known in coming weeks. Tasmanian tourism operators are already preparing for the busy cruise season ahead. We're expecting a record number of ships in the coming months, but the growing sector presents some specific challenges.
As our tourism industry takes stock from last season's bumper cruise ship visits, it's now looking towards the next load of arrivals. There have been more than 130 port calls booked in across the state, a record influx.
It's double-digit growth basically over the last couple of years. So it's really important that our industry knows how to respond to this increase and how they might leverage off it.
It's estimated each passenger spends $140 at Tasmanian ports. Today, an industry forum heard how to get a slice of this in the small time frame ships are docked.
You've only got a small period of time and you need to be responsive. So we need to look at, operators need to work on what sort of experiences they can offer in that time that will work.
Operators like Par Avion have tailored tours to cater to the cruise ship schedule and provide a unique taste of Tasmania.
With the cruise ships coming from other ports, you really got to find the information, what they have done, and then tailor something for them to be different while they're here during their short stay.
Another idea under investigation is a program targeting cruise ship crew who also get time on shore.
So we're looking at over 50,000 crew coming just to the Hobart port this year, and so they play a really large ambassador role. So it's important that they understand what's on offer in Hobart and beyond.
The first cruise ship of the season is scheduled to arrive next month. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A Tasmanian employee is bravely speaking out about the need for companies to support mental health in the workplace. To mark Are You OK Day, Tasrail worker Angela Jeffrey says ongoing support has made full-time work possible after being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Ms Jeffrey says the condition requires careful management in her day-to-day life.
You do have a tendency to be self-judgmental, self-critical. Taking on board feedback, you take it very, very personally.
A great opportunity to highlight that not just that it's okay to come forward, but also to reinforce to companies like ourselves and others that they need to be doing more to create that safe environment.
All Tasrail work sites are displaying Are You OK posters this week as part of the nationwide campaign. Tasmanians are adding a few extra items to their shopping basket to support those in need. City Mission says it is seeing a positive response to this year's spring food drive following increased demand from hungry families during winter.
We certainly have seen a lot of those over the winter period. We've had 600 individuals and families we've looked after during that period.
The charity is most in need of personal care items such as shampoo and toothbrushes.
Lauderdale coach Darren Winter says his side is back up and about, but admits it took a few days to recover from the demoralising 94-point loss to North Launceston. The Bombers face a red-hot Launceston this Saturday on the neutral turf of Blunston Arena, with the winner through to the big dance. It's the closest the club has ever been to a spot in the grand final, and defender Josh McGuinness found it difficult even sitting next to the Premiership Cup.
Yeah, I actually said to Windy, just get it away from me. I don't want to touch it yet.
Instead, the Bombers have one thing on their mind: September's surprise package, Launceston, will be looking to make Lauderdale their third big scalp in a row this final series after dispatching of Glenorchy and Clarence.
No, I think it's been well documented that there's been lack of respect for the team. I'm not sure where that come from, but it certainly wasn't from us.
They got some pretty dangerous forwards, some really good experienced midfielders, and their backline's been playing really well together.
One blue likely to get some extra attention is goal magnet Sonny Whiting.
We rate him really highly. He's a 100-goal kicker, so we'll put a fair bit of time into him.
But the Team of the Year centre-half backman says the Bombers are ready, having put last weekend's thrashing at the hands of flag favourites North Launceston behind them.
You get what you deserve in footy, and we deserve that second chance this year, so we're gonna have to use that this weekend. And
the boys were flat. Got our ass kicked on last Saturday, so it took a couple of days to get them back up and about.
The side will be without big forward Tutai Havea after the club decided not to appeal his one-match suspension for rough conduct, and Winter couldn't resist the urge to take a pot shot at the MRP.
There's not many clubs, and we're certainly one of them, that can challenge at the tribunal and think we're going to get a result. The history shows some clubs can do it, and we haven't been able to do it, so the trust isn't there.
But he does trust that his side will rise to the occasion come 2 p.m. Saturday.
That's the really fun part of playing footy, is that the big games bring big moments. So the players are they're up for it. They're up for the challenge.
Archery's top young talent is about to don the green and gold again. Launceston's Matthew Everett has qualified for the Under-21 World Championships after hitting the bullseye against some of the sport's best earlier this year.
Back in June, 19-year-old Matthew Everett made a global impression, breaking into the Open Age World Cup in the US as the second youngest qualifier. Now Everett is hitting another target, earning a spot at the World Youth Championships in Argentina.
When I first got into it, I looked up to all of them. Then once I got over there and stood on the same shooting line as them, it all became real.
That experience and a heightened training load makes Everett a good shot at taking out the youth title.
So now I'm shooting 5 days a week, 250 arrows minimum a day, and just building the confidence up big time.
His campaign begins on the 2nd of October. Elsewhere today, chilly conditions kept track and field records intact at the Northern Sartus Athletics Carnival. 600 students competing on the newly surfaced St Leonard's track in preparation for statewide competition.
We've had some standout performers. There's a few athletes that have won multiple events.
And entries are about to close for Launceston's first official marathon. Runners have until midnight on Sunday to sign up to either the full 42-kilometre real deal or shorter versions.
I wanted to make it accessible to everyone. That's why we're offering the quarter, the half and the full, and also make it flat and enjoyable. It's hard enough doing a marathon anyway.
300 runners have signed up so far. The starting gun fires on September 24. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Luke Jackson's upcoming opponent, Humberto Di Santiago, has arrived in Hobart ahead of Saturday night's brawl at City Hall. And although Di Santiago's English was limited, he clearly had bringing Jackson's WBO Oriental Featherweight title back to Mexico on his mind.
Yes. To Mexico. To Mexico.
Rated as the Tasmanians' toughest opponent to date, Di Santiago's team says he's been training hard for the fight and will look to deliver Jackson the first loss of his professional career.
Grateful for the promoter and look for the fight.
Di Santiago holds a professional record of 14 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw.
Good evening, Hobart, Launceston and Devonport all 15 degrees today. Burnie reached 14. St Helens on top with 17 degrees and fine sunny weather over the north and east. A few showers lingered over the west and also the central and south areas. Mount Reid the best rainfall today with 19 millimetres, but snow melt may have been a factor there. Friendly Beaches 16 degrees, Lowhead, Campania, Wynyard 14, Grove, Bushy Park and the Islands 13, Strawn 10, Lyawini recovered from -3 to warm up to 7 degrees. Cloud is spiralling around a low to our southeast. A cold front with active thunderstorms is moving through the Tasman Sea. Low-level cloud is blanketing the Bight and also parts of the east coast on the big picture. And on the close-up, we see clouds streaming over the state in the very brisk west to southwesterly breezes. Tomorrow, a cold front approaches Tasmania from the west, linked to a low. The high remains dominant over the mainland. Now, the wind's still with that west-southwest aspect and up to 20 to 30 knots, increasing to 30 to 40 knots over the south, but decreasing in the west during the evening, swells to 4 metres. A gale warning from Wineglass Bay to Low Rocky Point, a strong wind warning for remaining waters apart from the upper east, a small craft wind alert for the lakes, a warning to sheep graziers in the southeast. Friday's weather for Hobart, a shower or two clearing, 15 the top, 14 for Huonville, clearing showers for Campania, 16 the maximum. Launceston, showers mainly in the afternoon, 15 the high, 14 for Devonport and Georgetown with showers clearing. Few showers for Burnie on 14 degrees, Strawn with 13 and also for Wynyard 14. And for St Helens, partly cloudy, 17. The chance of a shower for Swansea, 17 degrees and 15 for Port Arthur. On Saturday, showers over the west and south with small hail extending statewide in the afternoon, snow to 300 metres. A cold start with widespread frosts on Sunday, but fine and mostly sunny after, and showers developing over the west and north on Monday, extending statewide during the morning. Partly cloudy in Perth, a shower or two for Adelaide, increasing over Melbourne, but only light showers for Canberra. Sunny weather for Sydney, Brisbane and Darwin. Cloudy here though, 11 degrees in Hobart, 11 degrees in Launceston, clear in Devonport and 12 degrees. Big day today, Joe, Are You OK Day, and it's International Housekeeping Day as well, so I hope you gave your housekeepers the day off and did some of the vacuuming yourself.
Oh, ha ha. Thank you very much, Mert. Before we leave you tonight, 2 of Melbourne Zoo's newest additions have been given a clean bill of health during their weekly weigh-in. It's one of the few hands-on activities keepers still perform. In a sign, CCTV is now everywhere. Cameras keep an eye on them in their burrows.
We're able to watch these penguins develop without actually going in there and checking on them and making sure the parents are giving them the best of care.
Wicket and Nippet won't go in the pool until they've grown waterproof feathers. And that's all from the news team for now. Have a great evening. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.